Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Roger, I can only imagine your surprise when her ex-husband reached out to you. After all, Clarissa must have painted a picture of how badly our family treated her, didn't she? You likely expected me to lose my temper or even threaten you. Rest assured, that's not my style. Allow me to share a bit of my story. There was a time when my love for Clarissa was all-consuming. We tied the knot right after college, stepping into a world where finances were tight and dreams seemed distant. Yet we poured our hearts into building a life together, believing that our struggles would pave the way to something beautiful. We envisioned a future filled with love and partnership, but somewhere along the way, that dream unraveled. As our children grew more independent and began to take care of their own needs, Clarissa seemed to develop what I called a preemptive nesting syndrome. She started envisioning a life beyond motherhood and sought new passions to fill the void. Unfortunately, these pursuits took a dark turn and led her down a path of infidelity. Influenced by a friend at work, she convinced herself that she had me exactly where she wanted, and the consequences were devastating. And here we are. Life has a curious way of reshaping our expectations, doesn't it? I hope you find joy in your new chapter, but I also hope you proceed with caution. She had the freedom to live as she pleased without needing my approval. Meanwhile, I stood on the brink of losing everything I held dear: my home, my dignity, and precious time spent with my children. The thought of Clarissa finding another man to replace me as their father loomed over me like a dark cloud. She knew exactly where to strike, using my vulnerabilities against me. On one fateful night, after a moment of intimacy, she laid out her plans for our future. There was no room for negotiation, no space for my thoughts or feelings. She firmly declared her desire to enter an open marriage, and I was paralyzed by the fear of what might happen if I resisted. "If you doubt my intentions," she warned, "you should consult a lawyer." Despite all reason, I followed her advice. I sought legal assistance, and to my horror, her words proved true. I was ensnared in a web of despair, fully aware of the peril I faced. My love for my children burned brighter than ever after her betrayal. In a desperate attempt to regain some semblance of control, I withdrew to the guest bedroom, leaving behind the life we once shared. Our closeness vanished, and the silence that filled our home was deafening. My heart ached at the realization that my relationship with the children had become my sole focus, more important than anything else in this shattered reality. The children and I took on all the household responsibilities, while Clarissa began to transform into a figure we barely recognized, a woman who would come and go from our lives, pursuing her own pleasures. The only acknowledgement of our feelings came in her decision not to bring her lovers into our home, a small mercy in an increasingly complex situation. She justified her choices to the children, claiming it was now her turn to seek fulfillment, as if a life overshadowed by debt somehow excused her actions. But her quest for happiness seemed to revolve around a whirlwind of fleeting encounters with countless men. These pursuits led her down a dark path, resulting in 2 abortions, the last of which rendered her unable to conceive. Strangely, she welcomed this news, as it freed her from the need to use contraception, a burden she had imposed on herself. Yet her reckless disregard for protection had dire consequences. She contracted multiple sexually transmitted diseases, earning her a reserved parking spot at the health department, where she regularly went for tests and treatments. Clarissa's story became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how the search for fulfillment can sometimes lead to unforeseen and tragic outcomes, leaving the rest of us to pick up the pieces after her choices. You should definitely check if she has any venereal diseases. Some of them can be quite difficult to treat. You might be wondering how I managed to cope with these emotional roller coasters. Well, my heart, once shattered into pieces, began to heal, largely thanks to my children and a few compassionate women who helped me keep my sanity and managed to keep everything hidden from Clarissa. The love I once felt for Clarissa has transformed into a deep concern for her well-being, both physical and emotional. I can only hope that after our recent divorce and your upcoming marriage, she is finally ready to prioritize her health. It's painful to see how much she has changed. The vibrant woman I once loved now seems like a shadow of her former self. Roger, I know she has the potential to be a wonderful wife. I was fortunate enough to witness her at her best over the years, and I will always cherish that gift. I hope you can see her in a new light. I want to share a thought with you. Try not to forget that someone who has a habit of cheating will continue to do so. After 38 years of marriage to this woman, I recommend sticking to the wise mantra trust, but verify when it comes to her. In conclusion, I sincerely wish both of you all the best as you enter this new chapter of married life. But I am confident that after reading my letter, you will change your mind about marrying Clarissa. However, if you dare to marry this cheater, please do not invite me or the children to your wedding. I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back from your foolishness and will burst out laughing. Good luck. Michael. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.